Oh, it's kind of weird. I can't see myself. Oh, you got to turn your. Good morning, everybody. We're solving a couple last technical difficulties here. Did you guys get it? Because my team and I are all in the same room, so they can signal me if I need to say something I've forgotten, but their mics are off and their speakers are off. So good morning. I am Tracy Hoover. I'm the co-founder of Groover Labs here in Wichita. And in the room with me is Jeremiah Buren, who's our Maker Lab and Facilities Manager, and Parker McConaughey. He's our Community Development Manager. They may say a few words if I forget something, but otherwise they're just going to be lurking. I'm going to just launch into my slideshow. The webinar today will be recorded, and we're going to put it up on the innovationkansas.org website. So if somebody signed up and missed it, or if you want to review what was said and then call me on it, you will be able to do that. Oh, I need to share. Let's see. There we go. And Parker and Jeremiah are monitoring the chat. So if you have questions as we go along, please post those in the chat. And then if there are technical difficulties, somebody raised your hand and put something in the chat. Can you guys see my slides? Excellent. Okay, we're a go. How do I make that move? Okay, so as I mentioned, we are the team here at Groover, and then we've set up an email address, innovationkansas@grooverlabs.org, and that will reach all of us. I know some of you have been to our webinar previously with us, or heard about the program, but just to give you a brief overview of how we structured our grant application and what we're planning to do. There will be re-granting funds from $5,000 to $25,000. And then we're also structuring our program around the Campfire program that we have been doing for the last 5 years. So some education and some mentoring and some consulting. In addition, we have several partners, Nexus and the Defense Innovation On-Ramp Hub are offering programs as well. And then there will be an emphasis on trying to involve rural entrepreneurs, and I'll go into that later. As for who should apply, early stage startups and founders, innovators with a scalable product idea or prototype, researchers seeking commercialization paths, and entrepreneurs looking for technical assistance or market validation. Pretty much a follow-on of the state's version of the proof of concept fund, but I think they're hoping that we can get the funds out faster than they were able to, and then we've structured our program to provide some mentoring and support around that. As for an appropriate use of funds, that would be consumables, project-specific materials, software licenses that are necessary for your project, tools and equipment, and expert support, training, and outreach. Not allowed uses of the funds are general overhead, salaries, financing expenses, or other unrelated expenses. So really direct costs associated with the problem that you're trying to solve or the question you're trying to answer. We are going to open the application next Tuesday at 10 o'clock in the morning. It will be innovationkansas.org/application. And I am going to give you a preview of that now to sort of, run through the application in case anybody has questions about it, or, questions that come up that we can fix before next Tuesday. I'm going to stop sharing that for a moment and share. There it is. And this, oh, there we go. So when you go to innovationkansas.org/application, here's what you'll see. project title, and then the funding amount requested. We do encourage you to think very hard about how much you need, and think hard about your budget. Partly because, there's a limited amount of funds. And what was the other reason? I had a good reason for that.
We could go over it a little later.
Oh, okay, good, thank you. And we'll go over that later, why I thought that you ought to think hard about that, other than the obvious reasons. So a brief description of the technology your project requires, if there's a lead inventor. And if these required spots don't exactly apply to you, put something in there so you can get past it. It doesn't apply because, or, something like that. If you have formed a company around this project, or you have a company entity already, please provide that here. If you don't have one, just enter your first and last name, mailing address, or physical address, mailing address, if that's different. This money is coming from the State Department of Commerce, the Kansas Department of Commerce. So you need to be a Kansas resident to get this funding. If you provide a short description of your company or your motivation to pursue the grant. If you receive funds, you will need to provide a W-9 with your Social Security number or your EIN, because Groover will send you a 1099 next January for the funds that you receive in 2025. And then if you receive funds in 2026, you'll get a 1099 in January 2027. We want to know if your company is greater than half minority or woman owned. And then the team. So that would be whoever's leading up the project, presumably you, your contact information, and then there's a spot for you to upload a file with the names and contact information of other team members, if there are any. So then on to project details. We need a project summary, and one page. These page limits are hard limits. They're not imposed by the application, but if you run on to page 2, we're not going to look at it. Project description, 3 pages. You can go into more detail here. So, it's an opportunity for you to be able to summarize your project in the 1 page, and then do an orderly exposition, a longer but orderly exposition in 3 pages. We need milestones. And as I'll go into later, we're probably going to hand out the money in tranches, because we don't have all the grant funding from the state right now. So they're handing us money, granting us money in tranches. We're going to be granting you money in tranches in all likelihood. So we need some milestones to be able to evaluate your progress, not only for your progress's sake, but because we need milestones to figure out when to hand you the next chunk of money. So this project work plan would be a more detailed set of milestones, and then a couple, 3 high-level milestones as well. And then budget. We need a project budget showing where the funds are going to go, what it's going to be spent on, and then a 1-page budget narrative to talk a little bit about why you're spending money in that way. And last but not least or maybe semi-last but not least, an appendix. If you have letters of support, if you have other funding that's contingent on getting this funding or not, anything else you'd like to add that you think the evaluation committee should know, this is a place where you can put that. Again, all these page limits are, if you go over those, we're not going to look at the pages over those page limits. So keep those in mind. Here is last but not least, a project pitch. We're recommending 10 to 15 slides. You'll go through those. If you're selected to present to the review committee, that you'll present those to them, and then there'll be a Q&A after that. I see some questions coming up in the chat. Are there anything I need to answer now? Okay. Fabulous. All right, I'm going to go back to the slides. All right. Some important dates to keep in mind. As I mentioned, the application will open next Tuesday at 10 o'clock in the morning. First round applications are due on the 30th of September, and I think 5 p.m. On that day. Hopefully that's an actual weekday. I didn't, when I drafted the schedule, I did not look to see what days of the week they landed on. And then we'll announce the awards by the 30th of October. Second round applications are due on the 15th of November with announcements a month later. And then if there's still funding available, then be the 15th of December with award announcements by the 15th of January with award announcements by the 15th of February. This is the grant period is very short. It's a year from when, from the beginning of the fiscal year for the state, which was July 1st. So we're making every effort to deploy these funds as reasonably quickly as possible so that there's time for results to come in by the end of the grant period. As far as the evaluation goes, the team here at Groover will take in all the applications. We'll go through those. We'll do a brief screening call with each applicant, and it'll be, as I show here, quick run through the pitch deck, some Q&A, and then the team will recommend whether which one of those of all the applicants, which of those go on to the larger review committee. That will be a longer call. Again, 7 to 10 minute pitch, 15 minutes of Q&A. So once we know how many applicants there are, then we'll send a list of date and time choices for each one of these steps. And it's first come, first serve. A couple of caveats. The evaluation committee may award fewer dollars than requested, and then you'll be asked to revise and resubmit your budget and budget narrative. But you won't have to wait until the next grant cycle to reapply. But if your application is rejected, you'll get some brief comments as to why, and you can certainly apply again in the next round, and hopefully taking into consideration the comments that you received on the initial application. And then some funding and milestones. As I mentioned, we're probably going to award grant funding in tranches, but if you feel you need the full amount right up front, then you need to make that clear in your application. But these are some likely award tranche subdivisions. We can certainly be flexible about that depending on the application. And then, we need outcome-based milestones, and then there will be a contract that you'll need to sign and some follow-on reporting. Everybody likes to keep statistics, and, the object is to show the state legislature that this is a great program and should be funded again the following year. As far as the reporting that we'll likely require for you, progress, brief description of where you are, how your money was spent. We may selectively ask for receipts, but I don't want this to be a huge burden on founders. But a QuickBooks report or a spreadsheet listing all of your expenses will be a default requirement. Any problems you encountered, partners you engaged, and at the close of your project, what the next phase would be. I mentioned at the beginning, we've structured the program with some programming and some support around that. Campfire is a program that we have run here at Groover for the last I think 5 years. It's run by Dave Cunningham, one of our board members. And they spend 12 weeks going through a subset of the Y Combinator videos out of Stanford, talking about various aspects of startup life, how to build an MVP, what makes a great product, managing your cap table, fundraising, things like that. And so we will offer that again sometime in the coming year, likely in the early spring. But if there's demand, we can rethink that. And then what we're calling Campfire Light is a one session high level, covering a couple high level topics out of the whole Campfire program. I think we're probably going to record Dave talking about those and having some mentors come in and have a discussion. And then we can post that on the innovationkansas.org website. We may offer an occasional, Q&A session probably online, but we could also bring people together in person if there was demand for that. Mentoring, we have a big team of mentors here at Groover who are interested in helping. So we can put you together with them. If you are working on a physical product, we've got Jeremiah Buren here, who's our makerspace manager, and he can consult with you on, how to get started, what next steps you might think about, alternate ways of doing something. We have a pretty broad range of equipment here at Groover as well. So we would be happy to have you come and do your prototyping here. In addition, we're offering memberships here at Groover. If you're working on a hardware product, we have bench memberships in the Maker Labs. And then if it's something other than hardware, then a hot seat membership here. And so, it's not just being able to come here and work, it's being part of our community and access to all the people who also work here who know lots of stuff. Can often help you answer a question or, figure out the next step for something. And then our broad range of ecosystem partners that I mentioned earlier. I didn't mention everybody, but I have a slide coming up that lists them. And then we also put into the grant some business licenses for Udemy, which is an online learning platform that has a very broad range of topics. So we could get you a membership like I think they offer Fusion 360. Which is the CAD software that we use here at Groover. So if you need to do a CAD design, but you don't know where to start, I think they have some online courses on Fusion 360. As I mentioned, ecosystem partners, and I'll ask those folks if they're on the call to step in and say a few words about what they're offering. Nexus, the Defense Innovation On-Ramp Hub, Network Kansas, the WSU College of Engineering, and the WSU Tech Transfer Office. Is now the time when they're gonna, okay. I'm gonna stop sharing. And how about Mary Beth, you want to step in?
Happy to. Thanks, Tracy. So for the folks on the call that don't know Nexus, we're Wichita-based, but we serve entrepreneurs statewide and beyond with a variety of programs that help connect business growers, innovators, and great entrepreneurs of lots of types to a community of mentors and resources, with Groover Labs being a huge node in that community, to customers and to capital. And the programs that we are offering alongside this grant program really fall into those latter categories. Proof of concept funds, this grant designed to help you figure out, and make tangible that idea, that concept, and really sort of prove it out. The next thing you're going to have to do is prove that it's a business, right? That it's growable as a venture. And where we sort of pick up where some of the like Campfire and other programs leave off and give you an avenue for education and in-depth learning along with real progress in de-risking some of the assumptions involved in an early stage business. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the what, the who it's for and the how it works and when of the programs that we have offered alongside Groover Labs and this program. Basically, the construct is we have in-depth, cohort-based, roll-up-your-sleeves programs designed to get you through certain stages of proving out your business. And you can include some part of your asked for budget to have grant money go to complete those programs. And we basically match that. The grant money would cover half of what it costs to go through, and we would find corporate and grant funding for the other half. So it's an opportunity with grant help and our bringing of outside funds in to be a part of these programs. So first, there's three whats. The first program is for the go-to-market stage. It is personal, individual coaching plus cohort-based workshops for how to think about and then de-risk some of the assumptions that are built into your initial customer acquisition process. Customer traction cohort available to entrepreneurs in all industries, innovation-based and tech, but also a broader array of entrepreneurs. That's conducted in the early part of each year, so it would be the first quarter of 2026. So up to and including that third application period, you'd be able to slide into that curriculum as far as timing goes. Second program is the Enterprise Engagement Series. If your development, if your concept requires, if you're going to grow as a business, that you collaborate with or market to, enterprises of size, we have this program that's offered in the fall that would allow you to sort of gain unique access and insight as to how you can engage with enterprise corporations or public sector or university or education institutions, startups. And these large organizations don't run in the same circles and don't speak the same languages very much of the time. And we bring them together. That program takes place in the fall. And again, could be a part of your budget request in any of the application periods. The third offering has to do with your education level and preparedness for potential fundraising. If a key to growing this concept you have into a business is using other people's money, whether it's non-dilutive grants or it's equity capital or debt, being able to sort of understand and navigate that world and be prepared to be a legit candidate to be investable or an eligible loan customer or an avenue for non-dilutive funding. The Accessing Growth Capital series is the program that we think can really help deepen your knowledge, upgrade your competence and confidence. That's offered both in the spring and the fall, so you'd have the opportunity to be a part of either of those cohorts. More information is available. I'll put in the chat sort of the where you go find that out if you're interested in including that follow-on wraparound programming in your grant application. We'd love to be a resource that helps you get, again, proof of concept, sure, but proof that you've really got a business and an avenue to go to market and begin to grow revenue and grow the company. I would love to be a part of that. Thanks, Tracy.
Thanks, Mary Beth. I'm going to step out of my seat and let Rob Carpenter from the Defense Innovation On-Ramp Hub take over. Tell us about his program.
Thanks, Tracy.
Thanks, Rob.
Good morning, everybody. As Tracy said, my name is Rob Carpenter, and I'm with the Defense Innovation On-Ramp Hub Kansas program. And we are your local front door for connecting with opportunities to work with the Department of Defense. We offer support to small businesses who are looking to work with the government. We do training sessions in our normal programming for things like intellectual property protection and how working with the government may impact your IP. But beyond, the normal training sessions we do, we also offer a program called the Design for Excellence Boot Camp, really a hardware-focused 2-day boot camp to help companies like yourselves who are at the early stages set up for success by developing your team and putting tools in place as you're moving into manufacturing to ensure maybe you learned from some hiccups that others have gotten through in the past. And through our relationship with the ACCEL-KS program, we will offer participation in the boot camps for grant awardees who have hardware-focused solutions. So we're excited to be here, and we are at Groover Labs as well. Our headquarters is down here, so if you are coming through, be sure to stop by and see us, and we'll see how else we can help you beyond just the boot camp.
Awesome.
Thanks, Tracy.
Thank you, Rob. Nathan, if you could be up next, that would be awesome.
Yes, hi. My name's Nathan Smith. I'm the director of the Project Innovation Hub in the College of Engineering at Wichita State. I'm speaking today to represent my team, which is it's a small group of research engineers and technicians, and several research assistants, students, and we're one of the ecosystem partners, and we can support several different components. So we can help with some design consultation, prototype development, assist with some design for manufacturability. So primarily hardware focus, technical consultations, fabrication processes from basic manufacturing through electronic componentry, PCB design and test, and other test and validation features that you might need, say as materials testing, things like that. So if any of your projects have those components or you're at that stage, then we'd love to talk to you.
Thanks, Nathan. I'm going to have Rob Gerlach with the Tech Transfer and Commercialization step into my seat now.
Good morning, everyone. Like Tracy said, my name is Rob Gerlach. I work at the Office of Tech Transfer and Commercialization at Wichita State University. And our role in this is we really like to meet with individual entrepreneurs and innovators and help them understand the intellectual property component of the work that they're doing. I always have to caveat that we're not a law firm, so we don't provide legal services. But our goal is to provide that landscape so that people can understand what are the implications of intellectual property. We work closely with a number of the groups, both Nathan's group and Rob Carpenter at the On-Ramp Hub. So that's one of our programs that we have. It's called Gateway to IP. And then we have another program called the Innovation Prairie Program. And in that program, we're working closely with Nathan and others to also try to help put students in a position to help, look at the project that you're working on and determine what a commercialization path might look like. Some of that baseline research to help identify what route we might want to go in trying to pursue and what vertical we want to go into, and try to see if there is any potential commercialization strategy that you could utilize in that effect. So happy to help. Anybody can feel free to reach out to me or to Zishan Khan, who's also on the call. We'd be happy to meet with individuals. We typically meet with them on an individual ad hoc basis and then kind of develop a strategy unique to whatever they're particularly working on. Thanks, Tracy.
Thanks, Rob. And I would like to point out that we also put some money in the grant to pay for consulting separately from if you are awarded a grant. So there's some money outside of the re-granting bucket to help facilitate some of these things. Now I'm going to go back to my slide. I think I am going to ask Jeremiah to come on and say a few words about what a little more detail about what he can do. I meant to do that earlier and I forgot. And I guess he'll just step into my seat because that's easiest.
Hey everyone, Jeremiah Burian here. Just a little bit about the hardware track. We're going to provide some dedicated workbenches in the labs that you can utilize during our business hours. There'll be supervised access to the labs. We'll do some one-on-one coaching as well. So 1 hour a week for grant awardees. They can meet with me and any of the rest of our team here at Groover Labs to help go over their projects, try to come up with different ways of rapid prototyping and product development as well. Tracy said a few things. We have a lot of equipment from PCB assembly. We have welders, woodworking, lasers, just about anything you need. And what we don't have, we have our partners here helping back that up. So we look forward to getting some hardware track grant awardees and having you guys use our equipment. Thanks.
Thanks, Jeremiah. I'm going to go back to my slides. Where is that? Oh, right there. As I mentioned early in the slideshow, there is also a rural emphasis as part of this grant. We connected with some rural partners as part of the application process, and we want to allow rural partners to award $5,000 grants to their local entrepreneurs. We're still coming up with a rubric on that, but the partners will be responsible for awarding that, but we'll develop a rubric in concert, together. Just because if you weren't, if I didn't connect with you somehow during the grant preparation process, doesn't mean you can't be a rural partner, but partners do need to coordinate with Groover before accepting applications. We're going to work through that process here in the next couple of weeks, because we allocated $5,000 grants. I don't want to end up with people having awarded 12. That would be a problem. Partners who want to award a grant will get $3,750 from Groover, and then they would need to provide $1,250 match. And rural founders can also apply directly to Groover if they through the process that I described earlier if they want to. As I'm sure most of you are aware, there's 105 counties in Kansas, and 95 of those qualify as rural. And it's easier to list the ones that are not rural, and I have done that there on the last bullet. We have some rural partners that were part of our grant application: Cherokee County Economic Development, Emporia Main Street, Great Bend Economic Development, and the Innovation Business Resource Center. I did see that a couple of those folks are on the call, and if they would like to say a few words, I can see Jim's here. Jim, do you want to say a few words? No requirement.
Mostly, I'm just kind of taking it all in and thinking of how we can work this into what we're doing. So I look
Okay.
forward to moving forward, but that's about it for me.
Okay, and I see, thanks, Jim. I see Casey is on as well. Again, no obligation, but you're more than welcome to say a few words.
Yeah, I'll echo Jim. We're excited to be part of this program, and I know we have a lot of innovators within East Central Kansas that are excited to have access to additional resources, and anything that we can do to help within the network, we're willing to do.
Awesome, thank you. I will say that the team here has got a couple of road trips planned. We're going to visit Southeast Kansas and Great Bend next week, and the week after, I forget which one is which. We'll visit Emporia in October, and then I know Jeremiah and Parker are going to be at the Makerspace Summit in Jetmore in late September. I won't be there because I have travel planned. And let's return to the slides. I think we're coming near the end. Next Friday from 9:30 to 11:30, there's an in-person kickoff event in concert with the Kansas Department of Commerce here at Gruber Labs. And you can RSVP at innovationkansas.org/news. There's a link in the news item for the kickoff event. And now is the time for Q&A. And Parker is showing me the chat. Okay, thank you. What if we request 25,000, we don't end up using all the funds? Does it go back, or how exactly does that work? That is a really great question, and unfortunately, I do not know the answer. And so, you know, for the things that I don't know the answer to, or we don't know the answer to, we'll figure that out. And then we will have a frequently asked questions page on the innovationkansas.org website, and we'll answer those questions there. Is there a time limit on how fast to use the funds? Yes, the Department of Commerce would like to have these funds used by at the end of June 2026. Is that right? Is that next year? Is there a penalty for providing fewer pages than the max, or is brevity welcomed if the info is essentially covered? Yeah, I would say brevity is welcome, but submitting fewer pages won't impact your score. But you know, if you submit more, we're not going to look at those pages past the limit. You know, what matters is the quality of the project and how it relates to scalability and commercialization. Do all Kansas founders need to be based in Kansas? Yeah, I think the founder who applies needs to have a home address in Kansas, but I don't know, you know, some of these things I would need to check with Commerce Department, but I think hopefully that, you know, if the lead founder is in Kansas, then that will suffice, but I could not say for sure. Can multiple founders file an application? Yeah, you mean, I assume that means multiple applications for one project, and I think it would be best if there were one application per project. What are the key factors reviewers will weigh most heavily in selecting projects? And are the certain dimensions like technical readiness, market fit, or rural inclusion weighed more than others? You know, I think mainly it's scalability and commercialization. We're really not looking at Main Street businesses here. So that's the first line in the sand. I think the evaluation will be similar to what the state has used in prior proof of concept grant iterations. Next question. If I'm not a technical founder developing software, can I use the funds to hire a technical contractor to help me build the software? Yeah, I think that would be an allowed use of funds. What types of companies would not be a good fit for funding? Storefronts, retail, brick and mortar. You know, this is really aimed at ideas that are scalable in nature. In regard to working with the government, is that solely defense, or is that an umbrella for multiple government organizations? We'll check with Rob on that because I do not know the answer to that. Any other questions that came in? Okay. Is that my last slide? I think so. Oh.
Does Gruber have access to market research tools to help with defining the market?
Webinar thing on my laptop, but I think I can.
No, Gruber does not
Okay,
have
yeah, give me a call back.
access to
Am I out of my house? I am.
Somebody's got a live mic.
Okay.
Access to market research and tools.
Yeah, Gruber does not have access to market research and tools. I think that's an avenue that Nexus can really help with. so I would, if that's where you're at, or the question you're trying to solve, then I think getting some of our partners involved is the right way to go. If there aren't any more questions, I'm going to, oh, okay, there's more questions coming in. Oh, and I got a thumbs up from Mary Beth. What was I gonna say? Oh, I can open the chat. I can open the chat myself. What a novel idea. I am a newly founded business and pending completion of my provisional patent. I need to have the provisional file before applying for public funds, correct? I don't think having filed a provisional patent, well, I don't actually know what the impact is on your patent, so I'm not sure I can answer that question. I'm not an attorney, so I don't really know. We would love to be able to talk about these projects, but, in our newsletter and so on and so forth. But, I also don't want to, open somebody's kimono, and commit a big gaffe there. So, we'll figure that out. Justin asked what kind of server costs would be allowed. You mean getting time on an Amazon Web Services? Is that what that's related to? I think that would be allowable if that's what the question relates to. Anybody else? I will say that if you make note of the email address, if you have further questions, please don't hesitate to email us and we'll attempt to figure that out. Oh. You mean to access more information on Nexus programs?
There you go.
Oh. Okay, about having a provisional patent filed. Mary Beth says our experience shows that because the funds are going through Groover to grantees, that should not be a roadblock. How many will be selected for an interview? We don't know. Really depends on the quality of the application. It'd be awesome if everybody got through the first roadblock and went on to the evaluation committee. But it really just depends on the applications. We don't have a limit. And so we'll do what needs to be done to make sure that each relevant application gets its due diligence. All right. Oh, yeah. My team is reminding me also that KU Innovation Park up in Lawrence got the other half of the grant funding from the State Department of Commerce. We will be checking with each other before we award grants. So applying to both is not really kosher. We'll be checking with each other. So word to the wise. Before I start rambling at the close, I think I'm going to close it up and thank everybody for attending today, for the partners who spoke and the rural partners as well. So I look forward to working with many of you and seeing applications from many of you in the coming weeks. So again, if you have questions, email us. And oh, so one more question. If we are at KU Innovation Park, should we apply there? I would recommend that. You're local, they'll probably be able to help you if you're up in Lawrence more readily than we can down here in Wichita, but we'd also love to see you down here. Oh, okay. Parker's reminding me that it depends on what their program is. So, I think depending on what your goals are, depends on where you should apply.
September 8th, I think.
Oh, okay. Okay. Parker's telling me that they have a launch event I knew I recognized your name, Lindsay. Lindsay's from KU Innovation Park. Why don't you say a few words?
Sure. So I have done just to kind of see, like Tracy said, we will be checking, so don't apply to both. That's in our FAQ too. And I'm currently working on our webpage. Our application will also go live on September 2nd, probably at 10 a.m. We'll just steal that from you guys, if that's okay. And so we're working out our plan now. And I know Ted, so I see him. But Ted will take you too. We'd love to see you apply. But we're basically, as far as I'm aware, our standard is going to be the 25,000 is what we're going to aim for. We have the same requirements as Groover as far as the rural. This is a statewide program. We'll be leaning on our NIH funded educational program called CET as far as education, so it's virtual. So our programs are going to be pretty similar, I would imagine. We're all trying to accomplish the same thing. So yeah, we're still kind of working stuff out. Our celebration is on the 8th. We get the big check on the 8th. So if you're in Lawrence, come to that in the morning.
Awesome. Thanks, Lindsay.
Sure.
I see somebody said I tried to reach out via email to Wichita. The email is innovationkansas at grooverlabs.org. And I also see that WSU, the Office of Tech Transfer, offers market research support through the Innovation Prairie program. And Zishan Khan with Rob Gerlach's office, you can reach out to him. Zishan, can you put your contact information in the chat? That would be awesome. Oh, perfect, Parker. Thank you. And I think we could probably post these slides also on the innovationkansas.org website so that people can refresh their memory about that. Thanks, Zishan. All right, I'm going to wrap it up. I know everybody has plenty to do today. So I want to thank you all for being here. And we look forward to seeing you in the coming weeks. All right, good night. Bye. Thank you.